Welcome to Leadership 2100. It's the future of leadership. Today's discussion will be on the 10 principles of exceptional leadership. We're all here to be exceptional at something. We all have the ability to be great. So the topic in this discussion will drive an energy of greatness into your soul, a level of greatness into your leadership, a level of greatness into whatever it is you're pursuing in life, whatever your endeavors, whatever your chase is. Exceptionalism is the key ingredient to becoming the person that you most chiefly desire to become. And so are you ready? All right, let's get started. We're going to focus on the 10 principles of exceptional leadership. Not just leadership, right? This is not about mediocrity. This is about what does it take to be an exceptional leader. Right? And I use the word principles as an acronym. The first P is perception. Who we are matters. So understanding your perceptions and understanding the perception of others. That's the first principle to becoming an exceptional leader. The R is for relationships. But it's not just relationships, it's really the 3 R's of success. It's resources, relationships, and restrictions. And we'll talk about how that is so important to being an exceptional leader. The first I is for intensity. You know, being a great leader is intense, all right? You should sweat a little bit. It's serious. The world has become so complicated, right, that nothing is easy anymore, especially leadership, right? The exceptional leader understands that leadership is intense. And we're going to talk about what that intensity looks like, you know, in action. The N is for now, being in the now, right? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but exceptional leadership is always in the now. He or she is tapped in, right? It's about timing, awareness, and preparation. Are you tapped in? If you're tapped in, you're in the now. The C is for complete. Think of being cubic. Right? Being cubic means that you're equal in length, in width, and in height. Right? And so when you're cubic, you're the complete leader. That's what the exceptional leader is, complete. The second I is inspiration. Right? A great leader should be able to inspire others to their own greatness. And then we come down to the second P. That's people paradigms. Right? Often in life, to be successful, we need to understand where we are. We need to be able to create the paradigm and then the paradigm shift. Right? And it's that shift, right, that leads us to our success. It leads us to our exceptionalism. Then we come to the E. The E is expectations. As I say, and we get more into it in this presentation, you're always right about yourself. If you say you can, you can. If you say you can't, you can't. Right? It's about expectations. And it's your expectations that determine not just what you will be successful at, but to the degree you will be successful. Expectations is your attitude, and your attitude determines your altitude, right? And finally, we get to the S. That's self-actualization, and that's really how do you purpose your exceptionalism? What's your purpose for being here? Right? That's your self-actualization. No one has to wake you up. No one has to motivate you. You self-actualize. You know why you're here. Your work is not work, it's your vocation, right? And that's why you're here, right? And so let's get started. So I want everyone to just step up, you know, sit up, stand up, you know, get loose. And I want you to think in your mind that one thing that keeps you from being successful, whatever it may be, right? It may be the lack of confidence, low self-esteem, the lack of education, your past fears, your past frustration, your past failures, right? Whatever that is, just get a concept in your mind. What is it that's holding you back? You know, one of the things that held me back for years is just not being able to tap in to that fire inside. And I realized I had too many things going on. You know, I was trying to do too much at the same time. And so having too much in motion stopped me from being successful in a number of places. But whatever yours is, get it in your head, right? And I want you to take that word, and that's your door. So while you're standing, right, knock on that door. As you knock on that door, you'll hear a voice. And the voice will say, what do you want? All right? So you tell the voice, right, I want to get through this door. So the voice speaks back. You can't get past this door. Get out of here. All right? So you leave kind of defeated. And you go home and you say, you know, I really need to get past this door. I need to get past my door of low self-esteem. I need to get past my door of past failures. I need to get past my door of lack of education, lack of opportunity, whether it's discrimination, whatever it is you're feeling. And you go home and you say, you know what, I got to get through that door. What can I do? You say, you know what? Maybe I can bribe the guard at that door, right? So you say, that's what I'm going to do. So you go to the bank, you get some money, you come back the next day, you knock on the door. Remember, what's the name of your door? Knock on it. The voice comes back. What do you want? And you say, I want to get through this door. The voice says, speaking back, weren't you here yesterday? Did I not tell you you can't get through this door? You say, yeah, but you know what? I have a bribe for you today. Will you take a bribe? The voice says, absolutely. I'll take a bribe. What do you have? So you offer the guard at the door your bribe. It's however much money you brought, that's your bribe. All right? The guard opens the door, takes your money, slams the door, boom. So wait a minute. I thought I was going to get through this door. The guard says, you know what, get away from here. You can't get through this door. All right? And so you go back home, you're feeling defeated, and you ask yourself, why did the guard treat me that way? He said, maybe my bribe was not high enough. So you go back to the bank, get all your money, you go to all your friends, you borrow money, all that you can. You go back the next day, you ask the guard, right? Boom, boom, boom. He answers, it's you again. You say, absolutely, I have another bribe for you today. Right? The guard opens the door. He takes the bribe and he slams the door shut again. Bam! So get away from here. You can't get through this door. Right? You can't get past your fears. You can't get past your frustrations. You can't get past your past failures. You can't get past your low self-esteem. You can't get past your bad childhood. Right? But no matter what, every day you go to that door and you knock on that door every day because you're trying to get through that door. And the life ends. And you go to that door one more time and you knock on it. Boom, boom, boom. And the guard says, what can I do for you today? You say, you know what? I know I'm not going to get through this door. I've come to accept that. The guard says, then why are you here? You say, I just have one question. Right? I just want to ask you, say, all these years when I have been trying to get through my door, right, whatever has been holding me back, why was I the only one ever at this door? It just dawned on me. It was always just me. The guard looks at you and he slams the door. Boom. Doesn't answer the question. Right? And here's the answer. The reason why you can't get through your door is because you're the guard at the door. Right? You can't get past your own perceptions. Right? You can't get past your own failures. You can't get past your past. Right? You can't get past your low self-esteem. And more importantly, you can't bribe yourself. So we go through life trying to bribe ourselves. So what we have to accept, right? Who we are matters. Our perceptions define all that we are, and we can't walk away from our life. We can't get through that door. So you have to put your perceptions in perspective, because they are everything that we are, everything that we do, everything that we think, everything that we say, every action we produce, right, has a foundation in our perceptions. Right? We have to get into accord with our perceptions, not try to get through them, not walk away from them. Right? Quantum psychology says it this way: you cannot leave the individual out of the description of the observation. Right? Who we are matters. So as exceptional leaders, who we are matters. Right? It matters to the workforce. It matters to your ability to be successful. Right? It matters to the processes that you have in place. Because as we perceive, we develop our perception. And that's where we lead from. That's the foundation that we lead from. And as you understand your perceptions, you have to understand the perceptions of others. So one of the common things we do as leaders is that we send out emails. Imagine sending out an email to 1,000 employees. You should have no expectation that 1,000 employees will receive that email and perceive it the way that you sent it out. You should expect there will be 1,000 different perceptions to your email. Right? So how you communicate counts when you understand, right, that everyone's perception is different. Right? And so as exceptional leaders, that's the foundation. You have to go through a process of discovering who you are. And until you discover who you are, right, you're not ready to move into that level of exceptionalism, because it becomes a foundation on how everyone will perceive you. Right? You know, your background, your education, the zip code you grew up in, it has an impact on who you are. Every leader is different. There's no cookie cutter for leadership. The reason why there's no cookie cutter leadership, because there's no cookie cutter for perception. We're all different. Right? And we lead with that knowledge that we're all different. And once you understand the dynamics around perception, see, then you're ready to go into the second principle, which is relationships. The 3 R's of HR: relationships, resources, and restrictions. Relationships. Eric Shinseki said it best when he was part of the Obama administration. He said, if you don't love them, you can't lead them. What he was speaking of is that you have to have a relationship with those that you are leading. They have to believe that you care, right? But success comes down to not simply quality relationships, right? It's your resources and your restrictions. You know, the human resource arm of organizations do a phenomenal job with bringing in resources. Where we need work as exceptional leaders as building relationships. No matter how smart we are, the quality of your success comes down to the quality of the relationships you have with other humans. Quality relationships, quality organization, quality success. Poor relationships, poor success, poor organizational outcomes. No matter how smart we are, relationships determine the height of our success. You just have to love people. People have to understand that you care more than any other time in this country. We start to deal with the things that keep us apart, not just in our social settings, but in the workplace. It comes down to the relationships. Do you go out to happy hour together? Do you go to each other's children's birthday parties? Now, what are you doing to drive relationships? Now, what are you doing to do team building? Right? Team building matters. Right? And so, but one of the things that can be missed, it also comes down to restrictions. What are the restrictions that you need to get beyond? Right? You know, if you have someone in the workplace that talks with a dialect that does not sound like your dialect, right? Do you develop some ism in relationship to that dialect? Does that cause a restriction? You know, if you were deciding to move to another city, right? When you get there, to be successful, you need relationships, you're going to need resources, and you need to understand the restrictions within that city. Because those restrictions, more than anything, prevents you from your success. You can have the best education, you can come from the best background, but when you get to that new city and there's no opportunity, right? How do you get that opportunity? And so one of the things, I'm Southern, so one of the things I do to build relationships, right, is that I'm big on taking people to lunch, giving that personal touch, right? Sitting down, eating a hamburger, or whatever the case may be, and asking people about their lives. So what are you doing in the workplace that's going to drive exceptionalism, right, through relationships? And once you develop relationships, those relationships automatically give you resources. You expand your network. And with your network, right, your network allows you to deal with your restrictions, right? What is it that you don't have access to? And that's how you deal with your restrictions. Now, once you in that space where you have dealt with your perceptions, you understand who you are, you understand who you're working with, you focus on team building, building quality relationships. So that's the time where leadership becomes intensive. It's that intensity, right? And again, intensity, you know, look at it as a fire that's inside you, right? We're all smart. Your thought produces a spark. And what that spark intends to do is get to that vat of fuel that's in your soul. And if that spark can hit that vat of fuel, you become a burning inferno. You become intensive, right? And then your fire touches another person. They catch on fire. And if you do it correctly, you start a series of small fires within your organization. Everybody's on fire. Everyone is intensive. That fire becomes your energy, right? Intensity is your energy. Without energy, nothing is successful, right? Without energy, automobiles will not drive. Without energy, you can open your door. Without energy, there would be no light. Without energy, there would be no roadways. Without energy, there would be no facilities. And so in exceptional leadership, you need energy. And the energy is your intensity. Right? When I worked for Taiko International, and I was part of a group that had gone to Narita, Japan, to do a industry best practice tour. So we were in a high-level meeting. The plant manager suddenly jumps up and he takes off. Been in Japan, dealing with a language barrier, not understanding what he was doing. I jumped up and I ran behind him. I didn't know if there's something I hadn't heard. Is there a fire? Whatever the case was, I ran. And when I caught up with this plant manager, he was at the door of the facility. And what he was doing was greeting employees as they were coming in and as they were going out. He understood that if he was going to drive the proper relationships, He had to shake everyone's hands coming in, saying, thank you for coming to work today. He shook everyone's hands going out, saying, thank you for coming to work today and giving me your best effort. And that was intense for him. The meeting became secondary to his need to drive relationships within his workforce. And as a result, the work that was being done at that particular plant, or Tyco International, was producing just phenomenal, exceptional work because they had an exceptional leader that understood that he had to drive relationships, and he was intense about it. Right? He had a visiting group from the United States, but his relationship with his employees was intense. Right? And he approached that intensity so that he could create excellence within his workforce. So just imagine if here in your organization, if you just became intense around shaking employees' hands as they come in and shaking employees' hands as they leave. Just try that one thing, and I guarantee it will work wonders, right? And that leads into being in the now. When you're in the now, you understand your employees because you have a relationship with them. And that relationship is intense, right? It's not about yesterday, right? Or you're trying to lead them somewhere, right? Your focus has to be on today, their well-being today. Every day is a different day. So what do employees need? What do you need? What do your organization need? Right? What are you chasing in life? Right? And life comes down to three things, right? Timing, awareness, and preparation. Timing, we're not in control of. That's the universe, right? But you have to recognize if you're in the right time, right? And are you aware of the opportunities? And if you're aware of the opportunities, it comes down to preparation. Have you prepared yourself? Right? Did you get up early enough? Did you eat breakfast? Right? Have you gotten the education? Have you gotten the training? Have you gotten the experience? Right? There's an old acronym. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation produces peak performance. You can say it either way, but it comes down to, are you prepared, right? If you're prepared and you're aware of the opportunity and the universe gives you that perfect timing, right, then you're tapped in. Being tapped in is about being in the now, right? And a key ingredient to being an exceptional leader is that you're always aware at every given moment where the opportunities are, where the threats are, what's the strengths of your organization, right? And what are the weaknesses, right? Because when you understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threat, it helps you to be prepared, right? Preparation is the key to being tapped in. Being tapped in or being tapped out, that's a you issue, right? It's not on anyone else. It's your responsibility to be tapped in, right? And if you're not tapped in, you're tapped out. Right? The universe is going to give you timing. Awareness is your responsibility. Preparation is your responsibility. As an exceptional leader, right, there's no one else to turn to. Right? If you as an individual provider within your organization, it's your responsibility to being tapped in. Tapped in or tapped out, it's a you issue. Do not look to your left. Do not look to your right. If you know you don't have enough training, then go get it. If you know you do not have enough education, then go get it. If there's an opportunity, pursue it. Don't sit back. Right? Again, being in the now, being tapped in, that's a you issue. Complete. At this point, this is the right time to introduce you to my book, Amazing and Ridiculous. On page 119, I'll talk about complete. What does it mean? What does it mean to be complete? Being complete means that you are three-dimensional, not one-dimensional. The overwhelming majority of Americans are one-dimensional. Phenomenal Americans, right, are two-dimensional. Exceptional Americans are three-dimensional. Right? So what does it mean to be three-dimensional? Three-dimensional means that when you consider your length is your selfish, healthy responsibility to achieve your own personal goals. Your width is to the degree that you help others to ensure their well-being, to ensure they're successful. Right? An example would be if you're a millionaire, then you should be producing other millionaires. If you're a billionaire, you should be producing other billionaires, right? If you're a great person, you should be producing other great people, right? And then your height. That's the third measure of completeness, is being cubic. It's your reach up, right? You know, I'm religious, so it's my reach up to God. It's a reach up to the universe. It's your reach up to a higher power, right, that has the ability to bring you up and to bring others up around you. Now, once you understand that life is measured in three dimensions, right, to the degree that you're successful, others around you should be successful, and you should have a reach up, right? So it's a constant extending your length, extending your width, and it's a reach up. And then you become cubic. And that's when your life is complete. You know, years ago, I read a book, and in the book, the author described that he knew 14 billionaires. He had relationships with 14 billionaires. And he said every last one of them were the most miserable individuals that he knew. The reason we get into misery as billionaires is that we're one-dimensional. They have succeeded highly, but they have not helped anyone else succeed, and they don't have a reach up to a higher power. Right? Money does not bring anyone happiness. Right? One-dimensional is not going to make you feel complete. But when you are successful and you have put every effort into making other people successful, and your soul is right as you reach up and you're thankful and you pursue the relationship with a higher power, your life is complete. And that's where you find true happiness, right? And so we've talked about perceptions and the importance of perceptions. We understand relationships, resources, and restrictions. We know leadership has to be intensive. We have to be in the now. Being tapped in is a you issue, right? But none of that means nothing if you don't have a completeness about your life. You'll be a billionaire that's miserable. You'll be a husband that's miserable. You'll be a wife that's miserable. You'll be an exceptional leader that's miserable. Right? Misery comes when we're not complete. And completeness is, right, helping yourself, helping others, and having that reach up. Here's what's important about understanding that completeness, is that completeness leads in to the second I, inspiration. Right? You have to be complete to have the ability to inspire others. Right? Because your greatness, there's something about you that others ought to be inspired to mimic. Ask yourself, how great of a leader are you if no one wants to follow? How great of a leader are you if no one finds inspiration in anything about you? Great leaders inspire others to find their greatness. It's not that you inspire others to be like you. You inspire others to find their greatness, because it goes back to perceptions. We're all different. It goes back to being tapped in. It's a you issue. We have to accept the responsibilities for ourselves, for our success. Right? But as an exceptional leader, you have to accept the responsibility that one of your primary goals is to inspire others to be as successful as you are, in many cases, to be more successful than you. Right? And so can you be that inspirational leader? And ask yourself, how do you inspire? What's inspiring about you? When is the last time when inspiration was your goal? Right? When is the last time you took on a few subordinates and you brought them in as mentors? You took responsibility for their well-being. You decided that you was going to expand your width. You were going to become more complete by helping others, helping them become better, stronger, happier, more complete. Right? Again, that inspiration, right? If intensity is the fuel, inspiration becomes what I call the 3 Ds: determination, destination, and delineation. With inspiration, you should inspire others to choose a level of determination. Just how determined do they become because you have inspired them, right? With the proper inspiration, you help them choose a destination in life, a destination in the workforce. What do they want to become? What do they want to put their efforts into pursuing? To what degree is their determination? Where they're going is their destination. Then it comes down to the delineation. Exactly how did they get there in a straight line? Right? We all get off the beaten path. But your inspiration should inspire a delineation toward that destination. So the next time you're back in the workforce, ask your team, to what degree do you inspire them? To what degree do you drive determination within them? To what degree have you helped them settle in on a destination? To what degree have you helped them identify a delineation? People paradigms. When we think of people, while it involves others, think of yourself first. Before you can love other people, before we can get into those relationships that Erickson Hickey spoke of when he said, you have to love them before you can lead them. You also have to love yourself. Just imagine that there's no one in the world that deserves your love as much as you do. Right? And so your love for others is driven from love of self. The exceptional leader loves themselves. And that's what allows them to love others. Because in most cases, we don't love anyone more than we love ourselves. So if you have a poor disposition about yourself, it extends to a poor disposition with others. If you have a positive disposition, more than likely you have a positive disposition with others on your team, in the workplace, in your house, whatever the case may be. But once you understand that love effect with yourself, it inspires you, right? Because you inspire yourself as well, not just an inspiration for others. You inspire yourself to love others. And that's where you can create those people paradigms. So imagine that there are issues within the workplace and you need to solve those issues. You bring your team together. And in most cases, when we bring a team together, we want to identify the things we need to work on. There are top things that every team identifies that's keeping that team from being successful. There's always a lack of trust. There's poor communication, poor leadership. There are different skill levels. There are work, life, imbalances, the well-being of others are at different levels. There are different salaries, there are different positions, and how we come into the workplace. Keep in mind that we're imperfect individuals. And imperfect individuals cannot come together and make a perfect workforce environment. So what you do, you create that paradigm. No trust or lack of trust, poor communication, poor leadership. That's your paradigm on one side. On the other side, you create the paradigm shift. If there's lack of trust, the paradigm shift is you have to build trust. If there's poor communication, the paradigm shift is better communication. If there's poor leadership, the paradigm shift is greater leadership. Here's your paradigm, here's your paradigm shift. So once you create that paradigm shift, what's left is to ask yourself, how do I get from lack of trust to a trusting environment? That's where the work is. Oftentimes, it's easy to identify what the problem is, and it can be easy to identify what the answer looks like. The work is in how you get there. If there's poor communication and you know you need better communication, how do you get there? That's the work. That's the people paradigm, right? You have to know your people before you can create a process in which they can be successful. When you know your people, you do not create arbitrary processes in which you have no idea if it's going to be successful or not, right? So imagine that we all have been invited to a competition. This competition is to determine who's the greatest. That's all the invitation says. You're invited to a competition on this day, at this time, at this location. Come prepared to prove that you're the greatest. So you show up, I'm there, your colleagues are there, your friends are there, a lot of people you know are there, but you look around, you see a zebra, you see a horse, you see a wild boar, you see a dolphin, you see a fish in a bowl, you see a chimpanzee, you see a snake, you see a crocodile, you see a giraffe, you see a slug, a snail. You see all these creatures. Okay, everyone has a claim on greatness. We're all great at something. Everybody's great at something. So all these creatures show up, including you, including others. So then the exam proctor walks out and he thanks everyone. Thank you for coming to participate in today's competition. At the end of the competition, we will be crowning the world's greatest. You all excited? You look around, everyone else seems to be excited. And the proctor says today's exam is tree climbing. You say, oh my goodness. Tree climbing, are you serious? Now, of all the creatures that were named, who do you expect to win? The chimpanzee. And that's what happens. The chimpanzee wins. He runs up that tree, runs down. He says, I'm the greatest. Right? Everyone else is left defeated. Poor fish in the bowl never had a chance, right? And so that's why it comes down to knowing people and giving people an opportunity to be successful. Because more than anything in life, what determines how great you are is the exam, right? Given the right exam, we all can be successful. Given the wrong exam, and we all will walk away feeling like failures, right? And so if you know a person can't climb a tree, then do not put them in a position to climb trees. Now, if that test on that particular day, if the test was swimming, then the fish in the bowl or the dolphin had a chance to win, right? And so always realize that it is the instrument that you use to measure yourself. That's what determines how great you are. So in the workplace, it's identical. And make sure that you're using the right instrument by which you evaluate and grade greatness in your employees. And if you have employees that are not doing great work, you may be subjecting them to the wrong exam. So give people the opportunity to be successful. Get to know your people and be prepared to create paradigms that's going to help them be successful. Create the paradigm shift, understanding that the work in the middle is what will determine how successful they are. Make sure that work is something that they should be able to complete. Goals should be smart, right? Smart goals. Your SMART goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Give people goals and give them opportunities to be successful. That's the people piece. Now let's talk about leadership. What is leadership? All right. It can be described in different ways. Leaders see where they're going. Leaders guide their team along that path. Right? Leaders know the way. Leaders lead. Can you lead the way? Leadership is not a position of privilege. Right? It's a level of responsibility. Right? Leadership is not a position of privilege. Leadership is a level of responsibility within your organization, within your family, within your colleagues, within your friends. Right? And once you accept that level of responsibility, then you must lead the way. And exceptional leaders lead the way in an exceptional way. They set the example. How the exceptional leader leads the way, he or she is an example to their team. Do you come in late? Do you come in early? Do you stay late? Or do you go home early? You set the example for others to follow. It's your inspiration. Do you inspire others to follow you? Are you someone, does your leadership cause others to want to follow you? Does your leadership cause others to want to be great? A great leader understands that when he or she looks back, and if no one is following, then you're not a leader. So leadership comes down to the degree in which you understand that it's the most difficult thing we do in human skin. But because of that, it becomes the most rewarding when we get it right. Leadership is difficult because you're trying to lead other humans with their own individual perceptions, their own idea of relationships, the different levels of intensity, the different levels of being tapped in, the different degree of being complete, the different sense of inspiration, where they are on their people paradigm. That's what makes leadership difficult. Right? To lead other humans is the most difficult thing we do as humans. Right? Therefore, it is also the opportunity to seek the greatest reward. And when you do it right, it is extremely rewarding. So how you lead matters, but understand you lead with your own perceptions. We talked about it earlier. Who you are matters. Our issues are you issues. So think of it this way. Leadership is about creating a path that is so attractive that others will gladly follow. Think of leadership this way. As you come to the workplace, ask yourself, what did I do yesterday that I can do better today? The noble leader, the exceptional leader, understands that leadership is not about being better than anyone else. it's been better than what you were yesterday. Right? Again, it's a you issue. It's not about picking up a book that someone has written and trying to become the character in the book. It's about understanding you on a molecular level and say, can I make myself better? And when you lead from that position, you give others the permission to ask themselves, what can I do today that's going to be better than what I did yesterday? What can you do today, right, that's going to make you better than you were yesterday? And if you chase that dream, if you chase that paradigm, right, then you're leading the way because you're telling others to tap into themselves and ask themselves, what can they do to get better day after day after day after day? And when you have a workforce that's dealing with that level of intensity, where everyone is bent on becoming better, can they get better sales numbers? Can they give better customer service? Can they create better processes? Can they create better relationships? Right? Can they get through that door? Right? Can they stop bribing themselves? Can they drive a culture of excellence? And once your leadership creates a culture of excellence, then you have done everything a leadership can do. So exceptional leadership drives a culture of excellence. And how do we get to a culture of excellence? It comes down to expectations. As I said in the opening, we're always right about ourselves. If we say we can, we can. If we say we can't, we can't. So what are you saying about yourself? Your expectation, right, is your attitude. And your attitude determines how high you're going to fly. Right? If you expect to fly high, you will. If you expect to fly low, you will. So let me give you this example of expectation. You're on a journey through the forest and you're losing confidence in your path. So you stop, you see a turtle, you ask the turtle, hey, Mr. Turtle, I'm going in this direction. Can you tell me if there's any trouble up ahead? The turtle lifts his head up 4 inches off the ground, because that's where turtles live. And the turtle says, oh, no, sir, go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am. I don't see any trouble up the way for you. You should be okay. And you walk a few steps and you notice a giraffe. He said, Mr. Giraffe, Mr. Turtle said there's no trouble up ahead. Can you confirm that? And the giraffe says, oh, no. You take a few more steps and you knee deep in it. All right? And so that's life. And your expectations should drive you to understand that the turtle was not wrong. He's speaking to you from his or her perspective. The giraffe has a higher level in the jungle, so he has a different perspective. So if you're expecting to be successful, do you expect to take advice from a turtle, or do you expect to take advice from a giraffe? As a leader, as people are coming to you, asking you for advice, what are their expectations? Do you lead from a level of the turtle, or do you lead from the level of the giraffe? There's some expectations. And if people are hoping to be successful, right, we want our leaders to be the giraffes in the organization and not the turtles. And the big takeaway from this, and I can't say this enough times, you're always right about yourself. If you expect to win, you'll win. If you expect to lose, you'll lose. Your expectations, right, drive your attitude, and your attitude drives your altitude. And now we get to the S, self-actualization. What is self-actualization? In Maslow's pyramid of human behavior. At the very bottom of that pyramid, there is basic needs: food, water, shelter. Once you have that personal need, those personal basic needs fulfilled, you move up to security, retirement, vacations. Then you move up another level. You start talking about promotions, rewards. Then you move up. At the very top of that pyramid, Maslow refers to as self-actualization. You self-actualize. You have your basic needs. You have retirement set. Understanding that where you are on that human behavior pyramid drives your every action. It drives your perception. It dictates the quality of your relationship. It drives your level of intensity. It determines if you're tapped in. You get a sense of your completeness on that pyramid. That pyramid drives your inspiration. It helps create your paradigms. Right? And it controls your quality of leadership, and it establishes your expectations. Where are you in life? What are your expectations? Right? Are you working just to make a paycheck? Or has your work become your vocation? You're so impassioned. Your self-actualization becomes your purpose. What's your purpose in life? And if you can repurpose your life and become self-actualized about it, then you match that purpose with your passion and vision, right? Your purpose fuels your soul. Your passion, right, powers your mind. And your vision, right, that's your destination. When I spoke earlier of determination, destination, and delineation, that vision is where you're going in your life. If you can see it and you have passion for it, and you know the work that you're engaged in is your purpose, then you are self-actualized. Right? And every exceptional leader is self-actualized. She knows where she's going. He has the vision. She understands her purpose. She can't be shaken off her purpose. Right? We all have a square, right? And in life, from the very moment we wake up every morning, from that first text, that first email, that first phone call, that first voice, when you get in your car, life is designed to knock you off your square. Right? And being self-actualized to the degree that you're self-actualized, you learn just to what degree you own your square. Life works out in all cases when we know that we're on our square. But there's so much in life that's designed to knock us off our square. An argument with a spouse, a teenage child that's out of control, co-workers where we have poor relationships, leadership that is poor, job opportunities that are weak, weaknesses that we cannot eliminate, strengths that we cannot capitalize on. An elderly parent. Everything in life is designed to knock us off our square. Right? And to what degree can you maintain self-actualize in what you do? That determines the level and the quality of your leadership. So are you exceptional? That is what an exceptional leader is. She is self-actualized. He knows his purpose. Now, as I summarize, I want to start with thanking you for participating in Leadership 2100, The Future of Leadership, the 10 Principles of Exceptional Leadership. As you go through your notes and consider what your path may be to great leadership, I want you to remember that life is about living amazingly ridiculous. All right. In this book, Amazingly Ridiculous, there are 19 habits. And if you embrace those 19 habits, all right, and you dream big, be ridiculous, you live an amazing life. And the exceptional leader lives an amazing life because he or she is amazingly ridiculous. So thank you, and pick up your copy of Amazing Ridiculous, and let's go be exceptional leaders. Thank you.